Hi, everyone. Welcome to you all to this FarmIQ presentation webinar on managing your fertiliser usage in FarmIQ. My name's Alison Worth and I'm the Environment and Compliance Lead for FarmIQ. So I'm going to talk to you today a lot about the compliance part of using fertiliser and storing records. And with me today, we've got the lovely Rachel Morn. Rachel, do you want to introduce yourself?
Kia ora, everyone. Yeah, as Alison said, I'm Rachel. I'm an account manager at FarmIQ, so more on the sales side, and I've been here for 2.5 years now, starting off in the support team. So it's been a nice journey so far. And yeah, today I'm just helping Alison out. She's the expert on all things compliance, but I'll just be showing in the system how you can add contractors into your FarmIQ and send them specific fertiliser plans, and as well connecting your contractors up with TrackMap too, which is an awesome little thing that we have, or integration that we have with TrackMap. So yeah, exciting to get started.
Cool. Yeah, that's awesome. So I'm just going to hide that there. And how do I make my screen go? Oh, there we go. That was a quick introduction. So a quick note to some of you or all of you, we're thinking about you if your farm, business and family and home have been affected by the cyclone last week. It was pretty devastating, and I know that everybody's scrambling out there to either help people who have been affected seriously or repairing damage themselves. So our thoughts go out to you, and if you need any support on that side, FarmIQ and FarmX are here to help you. So give our customer support team a call. So the agenda for today, with no further ado, we're going to talk you through the nutrients and the nutrient application analysis reports. There are two key reports in FarmIQ that you can provide evidence and reporting, I guess, to auditors and regulators, to your FERT reps, advisors, and so on how much FERT you've put on, where you've put on, and when you put it on. So we're going to talk you through analysing those reports and where to find them. And we're also going to, Rachel's going to take you through sharing your plans with contractors. That's a key part of what FarmIQ does, is enabling you to share the data that you record with those who need it. And we're also going to show you how to connect your TrackMap data, or to connect with TrackMap and pull your data, so your proof of placement from TrackMap back into FarmIQ. This is available for enterprise pack customers only, as it's an enterprise feature. So if you're not on an enterprise pack, then do talk to us about upgrading to that pack so that you can get your TrackMap data pulled in automatically. And we're going to also talk to you about sharing your FERT use with auditors and advisors through a piece of functionality that we call third-party access. So that's really super handy. And then hopefully we'll have a bit of time at the end for questions and answers. So if you've got any questions as we're going along through the demo, chuck them into the chat subject, the chat box there, and Ella's sitting behind in the background, and Rachel and I, if we're not talking, we will read your questions out or try and answer your questions as we're going along. So next slide. Let's just run over the benefits of recording your fertiliser applications in FarmIQ. It's really important to know what's gone on and when, to help you make better decisions. So for instance, remembering that you put 50 tonne of DAP on 2 seasons ago, so that you remember to get your soil tested to understand what your Olsen P levels are. Or do you need to, are you a dairy farmer, and do you need to report how much nitrogen you've put on at the end of the calendar year, or the end of the business year? Obviously a lot of the benefits around recording what you put on and when it goes on and where it goes on also relates to compliance. So if you have to do an intensive winter grazing plan, obviously you've got to be able to prove what fertilizer you've got planned to go on, when you put it on, where you put it on, how much you put on. So there's a lot to managing compliance when it comes to fertilizer, and also making better decisions about, you know, what type of fertilizer you put on for pasture productivity, weight gain, performance, that sort of thing. Seasonal timing. You don't really want to be putting a fertilizer on in the middle of winter or when we've got a heavy rain event coming. And being able to understand, you know, what happens on your farm as far as climate's concerned is really, really important to when you apply your fertilizer. And also budgeting and modeling and succession sales and competitions. So are you planning on selling your farm? Do you do the potential buyers, would they like to see a history of fertilizer applications on the farm? You know, how well have you been keeping pasture productivity going? And budgeting and modeling. Price of fertilizer nowadays, we really want to reduce our use more than anything. So being able to see what you've put on and having a history of fertilizer applications will help you budget and model a lot more in depth and a lot more to detail. And if you're FarmIQ users, then knowing what fert you put on and when is also really key to some detailed modeling. So just a few of the benefits of making sure that you record your fertilizer applications. All right, it's demo time now. Rach is going to show you our demo farm, and I'm going to talk you through. Rach, shall we go through to the report center first?
Yeah.
So if you're sitting at home in front of your desktop and you want a complete report on what fertilizer has gone on and where, we've got two really key awesome reports in FarmIQ. First, we've got the nutrient application analysis report. Both of these reports can be found in the report center, which is at the top with a little kind of the graphy thing. Rach is pointing to it there. And you will find the nutrient application analysis report right there. Rach, did you know that you can click the little star and add that as a favorite to your report? So whenever you open the report center, it'll be sitting there. So that's a cool little tip. So let's head into that nutrient application analysis report. If you are a comprehensive fertilizer user and you've got lots of records in here, sometimes it takes a little while to open simply because it's pulling all those data points from all over the system in FarmIQ. So sometimes you have to take a deep breath and count to 10, wait for it to load. So Rach is showing you the screen here, so you can filter what you want to see by event type. So if you can just click that drop down box, so all event type. So we're in this case we've got the fertilizer event type opened. You can filter by block and block type or by paddock. So if you apply your fertilizer by land management units or blocks, then you can filter by block type, or you can filter by paddock. So if you just wanted to see what you put on one or two paddocks or particular paddocks, just select the paddocks that you've got on across your farm there. You can do that as well. Also status, whether it's a planned event or it has been done, it's been applied event, because you can also see the cool feature about that is that Rachel's going to run through with you in a minute about how to plan an event and then convert that into an applied event. You can also filter by product. So for instance, if you wanted to just see how much DAP you put on, or in this case, urea or sulfur super, you can filter through product type as well, and you can also ignore calcium as well if you wanted to. So there's some pretty hefty filtering functionality in there, so you can pull reports on pretty much any variables or any mixture of what you're doing. So if you scroll down a little bit, Rach, thank you. then you can see where those filter boxes, the details and the information in that those filter boxes have pulled up. So nutrients applied by season. Obviously, it's all color-coded by the nutrient type. And the season, so the 2021-22 season or 2022-23. Obviously, you can see that we haven't put on very much this year. Yeah. Did you put that on just now, Rach?
I think these might be planned ones even. No, that is just applied.
Planned ones.
Yeah, there will be some planned ones in there as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
So nutrients applied through time. So it'll give you the months that they were applied there. It won't show up the whole year. It'll only show up the months that you have actually applied fertilizer. And if you scroll down a little bit more, it gives you the product applied by season and then the product spend by season. So there's functionality when you record that fertilizer application to put a dollar amount in there as well, so you can actually do some analysis around your budget, and then have a semi-heart attack or a very deep breath when you see how much you spend this year compared to what you spent a couple of years ago. Keep going down, Rach. Thank you. Product ton applied by paddock. So there you go. You can see that we've on this particular farm, it's received a hell of a lot of sulfur super. And then also spend by paddock, which is really cool for you to do some analysis around your costs per hectare, and then your costs of production per hectare. Keep going down, Rach. This is a super comprehensive report. I love it. It's probably my favorite report in FarmIQ, actually. Product application rate by paddock. So you can, as you saw at the top where you filtered by paddock, you can click all of those paddocks and see what you've done, you know, the nutrient application rate and the product application rate. And what FarmIQ does, which is pretty cool, is when you scroll down even further, you can click on any one of these those lines and see that individual event. It should bring it up. Would it bring it up, right? Yeah, there you go. So when you click on any one of those events, it brings it up in the graphs above. Rachel's highlighting there, which is pretty cool. So that's the nutrient application analysis report. And it's pretty in-depth. So I guess we ought to take you now through to actually recording and planning a fertilizer event in FarmIQ. Mm-hmm. So all the details from there and all the information that you record in those planned and applied events flow through to make this report up. Yeah, I hope that's making sense.
I was just going to add one thing.
Out, Rach. Oh, yes. Oh, and you can export this data as well. Yeah. There's an export thing there. You can show it as in a table. You can get some insights on it, so you can drill down deeper into it if you like. And if you scroll to the top of the report, there's a print button there as well. So you can print that out too if you so desired. I'm going to just read I'm just going to read some questions out here. Denise A. Hi, Denise. Can you filter by season, i.e. just for the 1 year to date? Sorry, I meant season as in June to the end of May. Yes, you can, as long as your seasons are loaded in there. So if you click on the
season,
it's not coming up.
It might be, I've just gone offline.
Oh, I can see that there. I'm going to refresh your screen.
Yeah.
Oh, what's happened?
I'll just stop sharing and then I'll jump back in
all right.
Again.
Cool. We're going to, Denise, if it's all right with you, we'll answer that question in a minute. Penny B says, last spring we had 4 different fert mixes used on 4 different areas of the farm according to soil tests done. Had issues getting them to come through on TrackMap because the product name and the inventory needing to be recorded exactly the same at our end as the fert spreader. Would be easier if only we had to put the product info in and then match it with TrackMap. Penny B's in Porongia. Rachel, you might be able to talk a little bit about matching of soil names. Not soil names, sorry, fert names. Here we go, we're back in.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just jump back in and then I'll come back to your question, Penny. We won't forget that one. I will go through the demo and then I will come back to your question. Hopefully that's okay. We won't forget about you. So yeah, as Alison, did you need me to jump back into that report just to show?
No, I think we're done in there now. Let's just go to recording a fertilizer application. So these are for this piece of functionality is for our non-track map users. Recording a fertilizer application, but then also planning a fertilizer application.
Cool.
To share with your contractors. Is that right, Rach? Is that what you'd?
Yes. Yep, definitely. So yeah, you can record your own fertilizer manually if you're not connected with TrackMap and getting those coming through automatically. And that way that can feed through into those reports that we spoke about earlier. So there's kind of two ways to do it, depending if you're a visual person or you just want to go into the land tab and record it. So if you were to do it from the land tab, you come into land applications and then go into your fertilizer event there. The one thing with this is that you have to go through a list to select your paddocks that you want to include in the event. But what I find really cool about the farm map is that if you just put on your paddock name, maybe, or area, it does get a little bit busy. But what you can do is actually just select a couple of paddocks that are going to be either fertilizer applied to or that's going to be your planned event. And then you just simply right click and this brings up a whole lot of options where you can go into your fertilizer event here. And that just means that these paddocks will then automatically pull through into the selected paddocks. Whereas the other way around, you just have to kind of scroll through all your paddocks and then move them across. So yeah, two ways to do it. Preferably, I know a lot of people prefer utilizing the farm map. So yeah, you pull through your paddocks here. I'm currently in a record fertilizer event, but if you were planning out your fertilizer event, so in a future date from today's, you just pop over here and click plan fertilizer. And then you just pop in the date that you plan to have the fertilizer application. So I'll just jump in the 3rd of March. You can also put the delivery date in here that the fertilizer will come onto farm if you're getting that delivered. But it's not compulsory. So everything with a red asterisk is the compulsory fields. And then you just simply scroll down. You can put your application method in here and then the supplier as well. And then what you do is just jump down. We've got a whole lot of products already in FarmIQ that you can utilize from our product inventory. So hopefully what you're looking for is already in the list. However, I'm just going to select urea for this demo. However, if it's not in our product inventory, you can just come in and go add product and enter all the information in here. And that,
oh, right, hang on, stop there. Just go back into that add product.
Yep.
The cool thing about adding a product is if you've got a custom mix like Penny B from Pirongia has, you can go in and put the nutrient profile of that fert mix into those boxes there. That's really important for compliance, and it's really important for understanding what's gone on, where, how much you've put on, so that you can kind of think, okay, next I put on so much N. I don't need to put on another round of M. I probably just need to put some lime on next time, you know, that kind of thing. So understanding the nutrient profile of what you've put on is really important. So make sure that they've got red asterisks as it makes way, but make sure that you add those in.
Yeah, thank you. for stopping me. I tend to go rush sometimes through these parts. So thanks, Alison.
That's all good. And I think the coolest thing about recording a FERT application in FarmIQ as well is if you put a particular product in. So Rachel, if you just go to the fertilizer name drop down box, and we'll choose another product that well, let's choose just the, you know, where you've got urea. Just go into the fertilizer product drop down box on there where it says urea, because you've chosen urea.
Oh yeah. Oh,
let's go and choose a product that's got some other bits and pieces in it, just to demonstrate the nutrient profile of those products and how FarmIQ shows that.
Is it not coming up with the?
Is it not?
Are you not seeing my selection box?
No, choose a product with say urea something. There'll be a product in there that's urea plus or sulfur super. Cool. All right. Now chuck in the kilograms per hectare, just put 100 in. There you go. And so it pre-populates, it pulls out what the nutrient profile of that particular product is. All that then feeds through to the nutrient application analysis report. And this is really, I love this part of FarmIQ, because when you're sitting there scratching your head trying to work out the percentage of phosphorus in a particular product, or the percentage of N in a particular product, because you've got to report on your N cap, FarmIQ does it for you. So it's great. And you can find that in here, and then you'll also find it in the calendar when the event has actually occurred. So thanks, Rach.
Mm-hmm. No, that's cool. So yeah, once that's all through, you just come down and click save. And then basically that will pull through as all your recorded fertilizer events would as well. They pull through into your farm diary. So I've actually done some before this webinar, just to add a couple of extra planned fertilizer events in here. But this is the one we've done on the 3rd. So if we were to click into that, it would bring all your NPKs into there, and as well just highlight out those particular paddocks. So that's one way that you could kind of screenshot this information to send off to a contractor. But there's a lot nicer way to bring all that information together, which is in another report. So I'll just jump into the report center here. And if you haven't already seen, if you're a current FarmIQ user, under land, we've also got this report called Land Schedule Report. If I was to run this one, and I'm going to go from today's date, because I want all my planned events from today's date in future. So if I go view, what this will do is pull through all the planned events that I have coming up. So what I want to do is I want to send this this planned event here off to my contractor. So there's a little export button. I just want to do this one. So I'm going to go off to export on the right here. And what it does is it pulls through the product, the rate, and the method of application here. And what I'm going to do is I want to add a map into this report as well. So what this does is pulls you back into the farm map. And what this little section here is just telling you is that you can, I guess, make the map pretty, so it's as easy and visible to see for the contractor. So what I'll do is I'm going to turn on my labels again, just so we've got a few paddock names in there as well. And I'm going to go down to my print bar. So this information is all in these 1 to 6 options here. I'm going to go to print. I'll just move that across. What I can do is choose to have the map in a portrait or landscape style, or I find the best way to do it is actually select a print area. And when I do that, I'm just going to highlight the little map. So it will kind of blow up the map a little bit further. And when I go save and return to report, this should bring this map into that report with me. So it says I've got a map for Sulphur Super 15. You can also add in any notes here as well that will pull through into the report, and include any other PDFs or images once you get this report to export. So what I'm going to do is export the report here.
It saves it to a PDF, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
which you can then email to your contractors.
Yeah. It's not currently showing on my screen, but I'll just quickly share that for you guys. So it would pull through that same information. If you added any notes, that would be in here. And it just pulls through the map with those particular paddocks that are highlighted. So, and yeah, as Alison said, you just send that through in an email off to your contractor.
Rach, can you now show us how to convert a planned event into an applied event? And then we'll pop back into the calendar as well, because the farm diary is where your auditors will live. So if you're planning on doing something like NZFAP Plus, or you're getting audited for the 190 NCAP or whatever, and you have to prove what you've got planned, or intensive winter grazing. So for compliance, the calendar is where you take your auditors. I've got this planned. This is what I've done. This is what's historical. And then when you click on those events, Rach, if you can click on one of those, you can drill down into it a little bit deeper. There you go. So you can show an auditor a map of exactly where that fertiliser was applied, and when, and where you go, the area, the whole thing. Yeah.
And then because that was a planned event, if you then went ahead and the event was completed, you just come in, click complete, and it will take you back to that same page that we were in earlier. That's record fertiliser. It just means that if anything changed, you could then change any information in here if there was a little change of rate, and then you'd go ahead and click save. However, for me, this is on the 23rd, so I can't go ahead and click save because it needs to be, if it's a record event, it needs to be before today. So yeah, nice to be able to jump back into the calendar and just click complete to change those off, rather than having to re-record your event there.
Yeah. Right. So that's recording a fertiliser event and planning a fertiliser event to be able to share with and sending it to your contractors. We've shown you the nutrient application analysis report. Rach, do you want to speak to our enterprise customers now as well around connecting your account to TrackMap to be able to pull your TrackMap data in?
Yeah, definitely. So pretty cool that we've got this integration with TrackMap to pull that data through automatically, so you don't have to always come in and manually record your fertiliser events. So to do that specific integration, what you'd need to do is come up to People on the top left, and then head to Contractors.
The contractors have to be set up in the system first.
Yes. Yeah. So you'll see here that we've got a contractor TrackMap already in the system, and there's this logo here that's TrackMap. So that basically is saying that that link or interaction is set up. But as Alison said, you need to come in and actually add your contractor first. So what you'd need to do is come in and, sorry, I'm going a bit quickly there. Come in and add contractor. And then all the businesses are ones you've already added. So what you'd actually need to do is come up and add a new business in here. So Who's a good one? I might just say Alison Contractor for this.
Alison Contracting.
Contracting.
Yeah, cool.
So we do need all these details for the contractor. Specifically an email, because we do have a section that we won't go through today, but it's about pre-qualifications in FarmIQ as well that you can send to contractors. So it is important to have the correct email address in here. And I'm just going to make up a phone number here. And you can also add a mobile in. So yeah, you'd add in all your details, and then basically we've just got this link that would go link in TrackMap. And what the cool thing does is it checks contractors that are in TrackMap's system, so that you can check to see if the contractor's in there and match it up with the business name that you've put in here. So obviously there's no Alison Contracting, but it's come through with an Alicia. And yeah, so you'd go link in contractor. Generally, it would give you a few options because sometimes that contracting business might be in a whole lot of different locations. Then you'd select it, and then once you click OK, this TrackMap logo will show up again, and that means that that connection is now set up for you. So that's the FarmIQ side. The main thing that I want to iterate is that on the contractor end, in their TrackMap online, if they've been using or recording fertiliser events for you in TrackMap already, they'll have a new account for you in their TrackMap online, which will be your farm name or whichever your FarmIQ account is. And then it will have FarmIQ in brackets. So if it was North Farm, it will come up with North Farm and FarmIQ in brackets. The contractor just needs to make sure that he or she is registering the jobs against that specific account. Otherwise, they won't flow through into FarmIQ. So yeah, that's sometimes just one thing to be mindful of when you're setting that up. Just to...
We've got a question from Tim H. Rach, what about adding TrackMap links to an existing contractor?
Yeah, cool. So that would be the same thing. You just come in to the specific contractor. There's this little drop-down arrow, that black drop-down. And then if you come to the green arrow here, you can go edit contractor, and that link in TrackMap would come up down here. So you just press that link contractor or link with TrackMap, and then that will flow through. So yeah, similar thing, but just dropping down to that grey arrow to edit your current contractor that's already in there.
One caveat: when you have your link with TrackMap set up, and TrackMap pulls all your data into FarmIQ, so, and all the events, all your fertilizer events, and shows you proof of placement on your map with the form of working lines and whatnot. I don't think we've got any examples in here to show, but it's pretty kind of self-explanatory. Once that data is in from TrackMap, you can't edit the application amounts or date or anything like that from TrackMap. If your fertilizer application data information comes from TrackMap, then you can't edit it once it's in FarmIQ. That's all around kind of proof of placement and compliance stuff. And that's a good segue into Lee F's question. I may have missed this, sorry, but is there the ability to submit information directly to council regarding the 190N hectare a year cap via FarmIQ? Not yet, Lee, because we are waiting for councils and government to get the proverbial together and tell us what they need in an API to be able to zap that information straight from your FarmIQ account to regulators, in which case, in your case, it would be your regional council. They've they've started building something. It's not finished yet, but we will get there eventually, all together. In the meantime, depending on which council you're with, in the meantime, you can, they'll happily accept a nutrient application analysis report, or if an auditor comes out, you can show them what you've been doing through your map and your farm calendar. And that's perfectly adequate for them at the moment. Yeah. Graham M, what level of FarmIQ do you need for TrackMap downloads? You need to be on the enterprise pack, Graham. If you've got any questions about that, then give our support team a call, or Rachel, Rachel can contact you after this and kind of talk you through what that looks like. Ed is asking, can the FERT data be transferred to FarmX? There isn't an integration with FarmX regarding fertiliser, is there? It's only StockRec.
Yeah, StockRec and pasture covers currently. Yeah. Yeah,
so not at the moment, but I know, Ed, that is something that is being explored, seeing as FarmIQ and FarmX are in the same stable now. So yeah, hang on for that. I'm sure that will eventuate in the future. But in the meantime, pull off a nutrient application analysis report and punch it in manually. It's really good to share that report with your advisors and people who are doing FarmX for you, if it's not you who's doing your FarmX files. Galen's asking, this is initially when boundaries are slightly different on FarmIQ with spreader, and you get fert on a paddock that doesn't actually have it. This needs work. Right, Rach, can you talk to that piece of dev that we're doing now?
About the report that we've changed, or about the historical data coming through,
about what Aaron and Dana are working on. So maybe I'll talk to it a little bit. Yeah. So Galen, there's our dev team are actually working on improving our TrackMap integration, and part of that is addressing overspread into other paddocks. So TrackMap might show that there's that a percentage of what they've spread has gone over the fence, or into your buffer strip or whatnot, or into the next paddock. So the dev team are they're doing a whole bunch of work on it right now to allow farmers to set a percentage rate of overspread that they're comfortable with. So if they feel that it's more than 5%, then you can kind of toggle on or use a slider to set the level of overspread percentage that you're happy with, and to show that, and then that basically takes that out of your reporting. So if there was an extra, say, 2% overspread into a neighbouring paddock, and it was, say, paddock A was identified to receive the fertiliser, and paddock B got a 2% of that fert from overspread, then you can take that out of your final report, and that will take it out of the nutrient application analysis report. So they are working on that, and you'll see something, I think, pretty soon, actually, within the next couple of months, because they're working on it right now as I speak. So I hope I answered your question adequately there, Galen. So yeah, I'm sure that there'll be some comms out when that piece of functionality is launched.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I might have dropped not a surprise in there, but one thing we are working on as well is currently when you connect TrackMap, it's always been that only events going forward will come through, so no historical TrackMap events, but we're very soon able to bring historical data through as well once you've made that connection, which is really awesome, especially for the reporting side of things. Yeah. I just wanted to quickly go back to Penny's question because I
remembered.
Overrode it. So yeah, I think we're just in general looking at the TrackMap integration and how we can better it, because I understand that if it's doesn't quite match up with what's come through on TrackMap and what's in the product inventory, it can sometimes, what did it say? Would be easier if we only had to put the product info in and then it matches up with TrackMap. So yeah, I'll send that back through to our development team as well, just with that little bit of feedback too. So yeah, Penny, do type to me if I haven't fully answered anything there. But yeah.
Cool. I think that might be us done. I don't think we want to keep you any further.
One last question.
One last question coming through.
Yeah.
I missed that.
Elsa, I hope I'm saying that correctly. Is it possible to have a list of batch numbers of fert from the inventory to select rather than having to type all that? Yep, definitely. If you come through into the product inventory side, so under Office product inventory, you can come through to your fertilizer. So very similar to if you've ever used this part for treatment. Sorry, Alison, I tend to always go over. But what you could do is come in here, find that particular product or add in the product here. And then you can just add in from this section, you could add a batch number, put in any other details in here. So just put 1 tonne for this instance. And then you can utilize that each time you go through and record an event. So I hope that answers it. I guess the only thing with that is that it will take off what you use in the event. Yeah, it will keep a running kind of inventory of what you've used and what you've got on hand from that.
That's very handy. Yeah. Especially if you're only using part bags, or if your fert's in a silo and you've put it into, you've put that that amount into your inventory, and then you just use part of it. It's good to know what you've got left sitting in your inventory, which is really good, and it's a lot easier. So when you go into plan or schedule your fertilizer, you select from batch number instead of selecting from that drop down product list. So I'll quickly recap on what we've gone through. We've gone through setting up your track map data. We've shown you the nutrient application analysis report. We have shown you how to share your plans with contractors, show auditors and whomever you need to in the farm calendar or the farm diary for what's happened, when it happened, where it happened, and what you have planned, which is great for your compliance stuff. And what else do we need to show you? The heat map. Oh, it's not a heat map. The nutrient report. Yes. Nearly forgot that one. All right. So this is another.
This is probably our most important.
It's not in the report. Is it? Yes, it is in the report center. Sorry.
Well, not most important, but our newest kind of.
The second most important. I nearly forgot you. Is the nutrients report. So back up to the report center, and it's just called nutrients.
So yeah, if you underline.
And this is a visual map-based report. So it's going to bring up your farm map. I love this report, actually. I think I love it equally. It's really hard. They're like your children, aren't they? You can't love one more than the other. You select a drop-down box. So you select your nutrient. If you can just pop into that drop-down box, right? And we're going to talk about nitrogen because everybody's talking about nitrogen these days. And boom, up it comes. So it's going to tell you exactly how much you applied to each paddock as far as nitrogen is concerned. So you can obviously change the nutrient that you want to report on, but this is a really cool at a glance visual report to be able to show your advisors or your farm team or your contractors around what you applied and to where, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. I was just going to say, if you're a track map user and you look into this report, it will look a little bit different. It will still be the same, but slightly different, that it will show that kind of proof of placement. And I guess what you touched on earlier, Alison, of being able to change that percentage of kind of overlap.
Yeah.
But
so in the track map report, you'll see working lines rather than blocked out paddocks.
Yeah, which is really cool to see.
Yeah, it is awesome.
Yeah. So if you're on Enterprise and have that track map integration, do jump in and send us any feedback as well around that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if nobody's got any more questions, I think we might have imparted enough knowledge for you to go away and do some tippy tapping and some explorations through your FarmIQ accounts and get all excited about recording your fertilizer, so that when your auditor turns up, or you've got to talk to the guy at council about how much you put on and where, you're totally onto it. And it'll give you a really good feeling and some good confidence about kind of having all that recorded in FarmIQ. So I think it just remains to say, if you've got any questions, please do give our support team a call. They are super, super handy people. That there's nothing that they don't know about FarmIQ. So give them a call if you get stuck or you want to learn more. And Rachel will be in touch with any of you that are interested in moving to Enterprise Pack, so that you can get your track map data pulled in. Ed W says, is there a way to differentiate between synthetic N and organic N? Ed, when you record your fertilizer applications, there is, I'm pretty sure there's a, is it chicken manure and compost products in there? I think there's organic fertilizer products that you can record. It doesn't give you the nutrient profile of them, because obviously they're all really different. But you can, I'm pretty sure that you can record, you know, if you're putting on chicken manure or compost, or organic N products from effluent. Effluent is slightly different, because in FarmIQ there's an effluent application recording section, which helps you record how much effluent you put on, where you put it on, when you put it on, to what depth, and how you put it on. So did you put it on through a sprayer or a drill or whatnot? Yeah, entirely up to you. But Ed, go in there and have a little fossick around in the land, under the land tab, and you'll see there's effluent applications and fertilizer applications, and you can go through the products in there and see if there's any organic ones in there. I'm pretty sure there is. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, I'm just going to say thanks very much for joining us, and we wish you all the very best. And if you get stuck, please do call our 0800 line and give Rach a shout if you are keen to move to Enterprise. That's cool. Thanks so much for joining us today. We look forward to seeing you again in the future.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone.
See you.